Hey, I am Vic, and you are with Conservative Currents. Earlier this week, the United States Congress passed a resolution honoring the life and legacy of Charlie Kirk, who, as you know by now, had his life taken by an assassin on a university campus in the state of Utah recently. The Congress passed his resolution with 318 votes, and it was 318 votes only because 58 Democrats voted against it. One of the more vocal opponents to this resolution was none other than AOC, Congresswoman out of the state of New York. In her remarks, she basically stated that Charlie Kirk was ignorant, uneducated, and disenfranchised millions. Really? Ignorant, uneducated, disenfranchising millions? See for yourself.
Instead, the majority proceeded with a resolution that brings great pain to the millions of Americans who endured segregation, Jim Crow, and the legacy of bigotry today. We should be clear about who Charlie Kirk was. A man who believed that the Civil Rights Act that granted Black Americans the right to vote was a mistake, who after the violent attack on Paul Pelosi claimed that, quote, some amazing patriot, unquote, should bail out his brutal assailant, and accused Jews of controlling, quote, not just the colleges, it's the nonprofits, it's the movies, it's Hollywood, it's all of it, unquote. His rhetoric and beliefs were ignorant, uneducated, and sought to disenfranchise millions of Americans.
Totally disingenuous statements by this Congresswoman. First of all, if you've ever seen even one single clip of Charlie Kirk in debate, whether it's at a college campus or debating another, let's say, political figure, you know without a fact that he is unequivocally non-ignorant. If anybody knew his facts, it was him. If anybody knew what he was talking about, it was Charlie Kirk. Uneducated, perhaps. He claims that he never went to college. But if that is really the centerpiece of AOC and her complaining against this resolution, then if she thinks that this person was uneducated and doesn't belong or doesn't really deserve any kind of honor, then what does she think about all of you who have no college education? Disenfranchising millions, really? I think now in the wake of this tragic assassination, millions of people are actually tuning in to Charlie's videos. They're having the opportunity to see what he was all about, to see what these controversial debates were all about, and they are finding no fault, at least not to the degree that the leftist liberals would have you believe. And as far as those just crazy, untruthful remarks she made about Charlie Kirk, disavowing the Jews. Listen, nobody was more pro-Israel than Charlie Kirk. As far as Pelosi's concerned, if you watch the whole video in its context where he says that some patriot should actually bail him out, you'll see when you watch the short 2-minute video where he made those comments that he was comparing the person who was actually detained in this Pelosi attack versus all the other people in Chicago, which was his hometown, that actually get released on bail, with or without bail, rather, when it comes to murder, robbery, theft, arson, violence. And somehow, in Pelosi's case in San Francisco, this person was detained. That's what he was talking about, that there's an unfairness when comparing the two situations. And then lastly, with respect to him saying that the civil rights was a mistake, you know what? Just watch it for yourself.
If you had the opportunity, you would get rid of the Civil Rights Act?
No, I think you should have a one-page bill that says that racial discrimination based on race is illegal and will not be tolerated in the United States of America. Most Black Americans don't support is men and female sports. Would you agree?
Hell no.
Yeah, I know. No, for sure, right? Believe it or not, the Civil Rights Act is now being used to keep men playing in women's sports. So the Civil Rights Act was used to help Black America originally. Totally get that. But now the way it was written is that any claim of identification, so someone says, I'm a woman, therefore I can compete in your volleyball team, they come in with a civil rights claim. And so what we're saying is, no, it should be specified to racial, not gender, all that other stuff. And there were all these other provisions as well.
There you have it. In his own words, it is one thing for a person to be opposed to Charlie Kirk's way of thinking, to his philosophies, but it's an entirely different situation when they blatantly lie about what he stood for and what he actually believed and said. And they're lying to you, they're lying to us. That is disingenuous, that is deceitful, and that should not be tolerated in the United States of America by the citizens. 58 Democrats opposed to this resolution, honoring a young individual who basically exemplified the American dream with the youth of this nation, a young person who accomplished so much in so little time, a young person who brought people together to the debate stage, who did it peacefully, I might add, and who had his life stolen from him because he did just that. And lastly, the methodology used by AOC and perhaps some of the other Democrats who were opposed to this resolution, it is perhaps understandable when they're utilizing those techniques. Basically, what I'm saying is when they lie, when it comes to mudslinging or political advantages. But when it comes to honoring the life of an American citizen, a private citizen who was not even a politician, they should just set that aside and just bring unity to the nation by actually embracing the fact that violence will not be tolerated when people choose to speak their minds. It is nothing less than shameful. Tell me what you think. Drop a comment or two below. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe, and I will catch you next time.